Welcome to this morning's demonstration where I'm going to show you another method of making felted balls. I've shown you the one using the tea infuser, which you make one ball at a time. This time I'm going to show you how you can make more than one at a time. But there's a bit of preparation that needs to go before we actually start. So we always love felted balls because there's so many ways that we can use them. They can be used for jewellery, they can be used to make hair clips, and they can be used to make these caterpillar bookmarks where we just put a hair clip, like one of these clips, on there and they clip over the book. So it is a great activity for children. They can make the felt balls quite easily, particularly with the tea infuser. The technique I'm showing here is a little bit more difficult and probably not suitable for children, but perhaps someone can make the balls for them so that they can then work with it. So what I'm doing here, and I've already prepared some here. They're big and fluffy and very soft. They're really squashy. How I've prepared those is I am using a needle felting process to actually start them. So I've taken a slither of wool toppings, which is combed. This is combed merino wool, and what I do is I tie a knot in the centre of that, just a loose knot like so, and then I needle that so that I've got it together. So I just need a foam pad. I have a single needle tool here. These tools are safety tools, because when you take them out and turn that divot around, that then goes in there as a safeguard to carry it around. And when I use it, I turn it the other way and put the narrow end in there, and then I have my needle ready to go. So what I do here is just simply needle these bits, fold the ends over. You need to make sure you keep your fingers out of the way. I do have finger guards, but I don't like using them because I can't feel what I'm doing. And working with textiles and fibre, part of the fun is the tactile thing of being able to feel it. So I bring this over and around, so I'm basically covering that knot, and I just roughly needle it because I don't need to have it in a perfect ball, because it's going to get in a perfect ball when I actually wet it and shake it around. So I just get it into a ball like that, then I can rub it in my hands, because the heat of my hands and the friction help to bring that together. So we end up with a fluffy little ball. Trial and error will tell you how big you make this slither as to what size ball you'll get. And that's fairly, as I said, it's trial and error. As you do it, you'll say, oh, I used too much wool there and I got the ball too big. So it's practice. Later on, I'm going to show you with these ones that I've already made how we can actually decorate them, which then you might like to use them in jewellery, because in this that I've got here, there are some decorations that I've added to that. While I'm needling this, I can add some of this Angelina fibre that I've got, but I've just got to make sure that it's inside there, because it's a synthetic fibre and it won't shrink, it'll just fall out. So I've got to make sure that it's got some wool around it. Okay, so we just roll that in our hands until we've got a reasonably round ball. I might just attach these bits here a bit more. This is a process that you can just do idly sitting in front of the television. You probably have to watch what you're doing, not actually watching the television, but you can just sit and make lots and lots of these that then you can turn into felted balls all in one go. Don't have any green ones. We might do some green ones. I'll take a smaller bit this time, tie that in half, another knot, bring this piece over, needle around it, and then bring this piece. You just splay it out a little bit so that it covers the piece that you've got there, and we'll just needle those furry ends in there. And then roll it like this. Okay. I've got enough made there to show you how to actually turn them into a hard ball so that they actually bounce when you drop them, and they do make a little noise. So I won't have to do this in two lots. I've got a bit carried away. That's all right. So I leave those in a bowl's probably better, but I didn't have a bowl where I was staying, so I'm using this. That will do. And I add some hot soapy water to that, and this is just ordinary water that I've grated some velvet soap into. So I'm going to put just a little bit of water in here, not too much. So I just shake that around till they get a bit wet. And then I need a lid over the top of it because I've got to shake that quite drastically. I better put the towel there so I don't get water all over the place. So by this shaking, I am making them form into more solid balls. So the more I shake it, the firmer they'll get. And you'll see there's no liquid in there now because it's all gone into that wool. So all I'm doing is just shaking it. So as you can see, you can do a whole lot at once, where the other method I've shown you, you were doing it one at a time. All right, we'll do those ones later. They can sit there. If I put the water on them now, they'll just serve that up, and I'll do them shortly. All right, what I'm going to do now, I need something with some friction, so I can use this bamboo mat. We don't need that anymore. What I do now is take these out and I just roll these around on the the mat, because that's what's going to roll them in my hand and around and round on the mat. So you can make them an oval shape, like that one. We'll leave him an oval shape. So I just keep working that until that gets really hard. And that's a pretty solid piece there. They take quite some time to dry. Even those ones I did 2 or 3 nights ago that have been sitting under the heater still aren't thoroughly dry. There we've got, that's quite hard now. Again, this is something you sit doing in front of the television. And of course, the more you roll it, the harder and smaller the ball gets. You can do a bit of it in your hand, that speeds it up again. Okay, another ball. I'll just do this lot in here. Okay, they're ready to go too. I'll do this one that I put the silvery stuff in. The fun part comes when you're making these in what you decide to do with them. If you're going to put them into jewellery, like in this necklace, which this is a dry felting technique, so they've been individually felted onto that rubber thonging. But if you were going to use these for a necklace, you would just simply, they're flexible enough for you to actually get a needle through, so you could thread it onto fishing line or something like that. So we've got that sparkly bit that's showing in there. So you can add bits to these balls as decoration. Bits of thread, bits of ribbon. The only thing you've got to remember is that anything that you put in amongst the wool won't shrink, because it's not a wool fibre. Wool's the only thing that or cotton shrinks too, but wool shrinks more dramatically. So there we've got a smaller one. So we just keep doing this, rolling the balls. Doesn't take all that long to actually get them to the stage of being a hard piece of felt. So I'll leave the rest of those because it's the same process to just keep. And they now, a good way to dry these is to put them onto a cake cooler and just let them sit somewhere so that they, I won't put them, I'll leave them there. Put them away. As I said, they'll probably take 48 hours or even more this weather to actually thoroughly dry through the centre. Okay, now the fun part comes when you start to want to decorate these. So we'll start with a red one. And I've got just little bits and pieces of fibre in here. So if I want to put spots on this one, we really don't use very much wool. You saw how much wool I used to make those 3 or 4 balls, and I'm going to use even less to decorate these with. And all I do is poke that. So I go in the centre, just anchor it, and then I bring the bits in from the edge. So once you get proficient at using these tools, they become like a little sculptor's tool. So we can add spots to this. Tiny, you can hardly see the amount of wool that I'm using. And if you don't like it when you've got it on there, you just simply pull it off and put something else on there. That gets fairly embedded in there. So we just keep going. So we'll put these ones, so we've got spots on that one. We use the green one, and again I'll just take some tiny little slithers of wool and make it into a little strand. Anchor it down at the bottom. And I can make that go around in a circle, a spiral. If you think you're going to stab yourself, well then certainly use the guards. So we can make this one a whirly spiral. You could put beads on these. They look very, very nice with very simple embroidery on them, like bullion stitch, French knots, even lazy daisy stitch. Looks good on these. So this is where it becomes very creative. So we can put a spiral on there. We'll go my special colours. So we can put stripes. You could, if you wanted to make big ones, you could turn them into footy things. You can also put these felted balls, you can string them onto a key ring. They make nice mobiles. So we just secure that down through the centre. If you want to make it thinner, you bring it in from the edge into the centre. So you can make a line as thin as you want it to be. If it gets a little bit out of shape, just roll it back again. All these little hairy bits that we've got here can just be needled in, or you can take them back over and needle them in. Or if you're in absolute desperation, you can just cut them off. Okay, so there we've got one that's got stripes on it. We can add some of this to it. We'll put this on here. To make this stay put, I'll need to put just the thinnest slither of wool over it. Otherwise, it will fall off. So it's just a spider, like a spider web. But it's enough to make that wool stay put, or that fibre stay put. Okay, so we can put shiny stuff on as well, as long as we remember to put that tiny little bit of wool over it, so that when we punch it, there's some wool that comes back out through there. So there you are. How to make felt balls in a larger quantity, and then what you can do to actually decorate them. So there's just 4 different ways, and you can think of many, many more as to how you can actually decorate it. And as I said, that's where the fun is. You will find my all my goods on my Etsy shop, which is etsy.com.au/shop/little-mg designs. And you'll also find a Facebook page, Little MG Designs, Felting Fibre and Fabric. And come and visit me at 134 site and have a look at all the do-it-yourself kits that I have there for your use. Thank you.